You already know that Trump was found guilty of 34 felony charges, presumably. I'm not the one breaking this news to you, right? Because if I am, Jesus fucking Christ, you live under a rock. But anyway, I'll provide a brief rundown for those who may not be familiar with the details of the charges brought on against Trump. In 2006, Trump had a one-night affair with a porn star named Stormy Daniels, and allegedly it wasn't exactly consensual on the part of Daniels. Days before the 2016 election, she was about to go public with this story. Trump caught wind of this and then got his attorney at the time, Michael Cohen, to pay her $130,000 in hush money to keep quiet. Of course, before his presidential run, he was known as the powerful multi-billionaire who slept around and could get any woman he desired. But since he had to appeal to a base that comprised of many evangelicals, he had to paint himself as this religious family man all of a sudden. And much of his base, just like the fucking idiots they are, fell for the ruse hook, line, and sinker. But Trump felt that a story like this, coming out just days before the 2016 election, could be disastrous for his campaign. I personally don't think it would have made a fucking difference if that disgusting grab him by the pussy video did nothing to deter his base from voting for him. Then I doubt this would have changed much either. But anyway, Cohen expected to be repaid for the $130,000 he gave Stormy Daniels. From CBS, Cohen would receive $130,000 for Daniels' payment, plus $50,000 intended for a technology company that did unrelated work for Trump. That amount was doubled to account for taxes that Cohen would have to pay on the income. Alan Weisselberg, who was the executive at the Trump Organization, then tacked on an extra $60,000 as a bonus for Cohen, who was upset that his regular year-end award had been cut. The total worked out to $420,000. This was all corroborated by a series of calculations that Weisselberg himself had handwritten. So it's not like this is all a witch hunt. These charges came out of nowhere to persecute Trump for politically motivated reasons. No, him and his team were caught red-handed for falsifying business records with irrefutable evidence. And yet all of these Trumpers are coming out of the woodwork saying this was a rigged trial, all of these charges are phony. If they can come after Trump, they can certainly come after you next, because yeah, totally the average person has $130,000 worth of hush money to give someone. What the fuck happened to this law and order speak you crowed on incessantly about back in 2020? When the topic at hand was people, many of which comprised of those who were from marginalized communities, standing up against injustices carried out by the police force against people of color. You're like, oh, throw the book at them, they're all rioters, looters, agitators, they're setting our cities on fire, when most of the Black Lives Matter protests back in 2020 were peaceful. But when your guy is caught committing felonies, you're ready to throw the entire justice system in the trash and declare him innocent on the basis of what? All I've seen from all of you is vague talk, fear-mongering, and threats you have no intention whatsoever of carrying out. I can't believe they're treating Trump like this. America as we know it is dead. This is going to spark civil war. Maybe work on leaving your recliner first before you talk about fighting in war anyway. Trump received his due diligence. He was given a trial, evidence was presented and reviewed at said trial. The jury had to take all of this evidence into account, and it was damning enough for all of them to unanimously agree upon that this guy is indeed guilty as sin. You just don't like the outcome because you were so high on this guy's farts that you'll believe anything that comes out of his fucking mouth. You severely lack critical thinking skills, and that's why you just blindly parrot whatever Trump says. Rigged trial, unconstitutional, the judge is a radical leftist, this is a ploy by George Soros to interfere with the election and destroy my campaign, or whatever other ridiculous shit he is saying to deflect from the fact that he received a fair trial, but the trial just didn't go his way. You'd think if this really was unfair persecution, he would have something, anything of substance to say that isn't just the usual buzzwords and fear-mongering he likes to throw out. But you don't stop and think about that for a second. You just fall in line behind this guy, blindly believing what he says, because you don't think of him as just any other sleazeball politician, but rather a goddamn cult leader. And And that's why you fall right behind him when he screams about law and order when it comes to groups of people you don't like, but the second someone you do like, especially Trump, is found guilty in a court of law, that's when the law's illegitimate. How convenient. Anyway, with all that said, his sentencing is set for July 11th. Do I have any faith whatsoever that he'll see the inside of a jail cell? Honestly, no. I think the chances of that happening are virtually zero. He is a rich and powerful person who is the President of the United States. On top of that, he is connected to other rich and powerful people. He is part of an elite group of people who, no matter how monstrous the person may be, no matter how illegal the activities they partake in are, will never face the consequences of their own actions. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein, for God's sakes. He managed to get his rape conviction overturned, and is now currently going through a retrial. If you're wealthy enough, if you're powerful enough, you can get away with virtually anything. I fucking hate that this is the case in this country, of course. I really wish your wealth and your status didn't determine whether or not you're on the same playing field as everyone else. But this is the unfortunate reality we live in. Isn't capitalism so wonderful? Anyway, I'm calling it now. He's gonna walk away with only a fine. I'd be shocked if he even received home confinement, but none of this will matter if he wins in November, which, like it or not, he has a real shot of winning in November. And if that happens, all of this can go away via him pardoning himself. I'm sorry for ending this video with doom and gloom, but I'm just spelling out the reality and what may happen after November. For now, I'm enjoying the Trump tears and the Trump supporter tears, but savor the moment while you can, because it's likely not going to last, and again, he will probably not face adequate consequences for his actions. But of course, I am happy to be wrong, and if he does by some grace of God receive a jail sentence in July, you're more than free to come back to this video and laugh at me for how wrong I was. But until then, I think this is most likely what's going to happen. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.